everybody, Jason here of GhostbustersNews.com, and as always, Ghostbusters News right here on YouTube. And today, I'm back, and we're going to be taking a look at the brand new glow-in-the-dark Ghostbusters Plasma Series figures. This line was just released, and it includes slime renditions of Peter Venkman, Egon Spangler, Ray Stantz, and Winston Zedmore. And a quick heads up, if you'd like to buy a set for yourself, they are available and in stock right now as of this video's recording over on entertainmentearth.com. And of course, you know, we've got those links down below in this video's description, so be sure to head on over to entertainmentearth.com right now and grab yourself a set. Alright, now let's go ahead and kick off the review here today by first taking a look at the packaging. And being that the packaging is so similar for all four Ghostbusters, we're just going to fixate on Dr. Peter Venkman here. It does feature that khaki-style uniform design that we've seen with all the Ghostbusters Plasma Series figures. Of course, has the Ghostbusters branding, the No Ghost logo that looks like a patch. Also the Ghostbusters name tag with their individual name listed. But you can see the twist here, it has this really funky slime design. And this slime design, it's not only on the front of the packaging, but you can see up here, it's also on the top. As well as the minimalistic art that's usually featured on the side here, has also been given a green slime makeover. Turning the box around to the back, there's not really too much to see here. It does display all four figures in the line, once again, Venkman, Spangler, Stantz, and Zedmore. And speaking of those four Ghostbusters, before we crack open the boxes here, let's take a look at the front of the box once again. Because as you can see, it does feature window-style packaging, allowing you to see everything that is inside, as all of the accessories that come with these figures, aside from the paint app, are identical. You get the action figure itself, a proton pack, and then also a glow-in-the-dark proton stream. Now, I'm an impatient fella, and as you can see, I've already opened up Dr. Peter Venkman. Actually, I've already opened up all four figures, and first impressions here are pretty strong for this figure. There is so much here that is such an upgrade over the very first series of Ghostbusters Plasma figures. And we're certainly going to do a comparison with every single figure later on in this video, so certainly stay tuned. As well, being that these figures are the exact same sculpts that we've seen previously, we're not going to go through like articulation or anything like that. Chances are if you're watching this video, you know what to expect with these figures, but you can see it here. You can move them at the elbow joints, the wrists, the arms. The legs have great bend to them, the ankles, and also at the waist joint. There is no doubt you can get some pretty unique poses out of the Plasma Series figures. Also, a quick refresher, taking a look at the back of Dr. Peter Venkman here, you're going to see a little hole there, and that, of course, is where the proton pack goes into. And to attach a proton pack, it is really easy. All you have to do is just slip the arm through the straps, make sure that peg goes into old Venkman's back, and then at the side here, there's just a small little peg you need to make sure is strapped in, and after that, he is ready to bust some ghosts. And now that we do have Venkman all suited up, let's go ahead and talk about some of the detail here. Because like I said, the face here looks so much better than what we saw with that first series. Once again, a comparison's coming later on. Now, of course, the big area where these figures differ is they are covered in green slime. And that green slime is actually what glows in the dark. You can see with Venkman here, it's on his head, it's on his shoulder, it's all over his chest and stomach. I really also like the fact, too, that they even covered part of the Ghostbusters logo on his right arm. Now, as I already mentioned, if you own any of the previous Ghostbusters Plasma Series figures, you're going to know exactly what to expect here. The actual sculpt here is the same, but as we just mentioned, the detail work in the face, much better. We got that slime detail, and that slime is actually unique for each character, so the way it's splattered on Venkman is entirely different than it is the other three Ghostbusters. I also want to mention that Hasbro, they were not stingy when it came to that glow-in-the-dark slime paint, as Venkman does feature it on both legs. And speaking of that slime, that ectoplasm, that paint, let's go ahead and turn Venkman around. As you'll see, that slime detail also extends to the proton pack. And once again, that slime detail when it comes to the proton packs is different for all four Ghostbusters. And much like in that first series, the red cyclotron light that is lit up does alternate between each member of the Ghostbusters team. Now, of course, the Neutrino wand does come off of the proton pack here, just snaps off there, and you can easily put it in old Venkman's hand. And as I mentioned earlier, each one of these Ghostbusters, they do come with a proton stream. And we're going to show you that once we get all four Ghostbusters unboxed. But right now it is comparison time, and just take a look at this. On the left, we have that original Ghostbusters Plasma Series rendition of Peter Venkman, and on the right, we have this brand new glow-in-the-dark version. And like I said, the difference in the faces here is huge. To me, this new incarnation looks so much better. As well, one thing we haven't actually touched on until now, all the brand new glow-in-the-dark Ghostbuster figures, they feature a darker flight suit that looks a lot more authentic to what we saw in the film. Like, to me, between these two, there is no competition as to which one is the better looking figure. Now, while we're at it, let's go ahead, turn them around, and show off the proton packs As once again, when it comes to the actual detail work here, really the only difference is that actual paint app of that glow-in-the-dark slime. But I do want to point out there is one small detail that when it comes to this new glow-in-the-dark line, I wish Hasbro would have fixed. You can see on both of these figures, their elbow pads are actually black, which is entirely inaccurate to what we saw in the original Ghostbusters film. Now, while we're talking about these elbow pads, let's go ahead and do a quick comparison between the Afterlife Venkman and this glow-in-the-dark Venkman. Now, hopefully this is coming through on camera, but the actual colors of the flight suits here, they're actually a bit different. I kind of thought that darker khaki that we saw in the Afterlife figures was going to be kind of the norm going forward. But there is certainly a slight color change between these two. Now let's go ahead and turn them around, and you're going to see here that when it comes to the Ghostbusters Afterlife Venkman, they actually did correct those elbow pads, as they are all gray. Like, to me, this isn't really a deal breaker, but it would have been nice to see Hasbro correct this once again in this glow-in-the-dark line. Now moving on from there, we've got ourselves the brains of the Ghostbusters, Dr. Egon Spangler. And at first glance, what I noticed here was that face. This looks great. It looks so much like Harold Ramis. Of course, we got all that slime detail there on the chest, going down the arms, the Spangler name tag also going across the chest. Much like Venkman, you can see part of the Ghostbusters logo on his arm being covered. As well, when it comes to Spangler, Stantz, and Zedmore, their pant legs, unlike Venkman, they're tucked in. And all three of those figures have this really cool dripping slime effect going down on their boots. Turning Egon around here, we've got that slime effect also on the proton pack. Now, bringing in that Series 1 figure of Egon Spangler, you can really tell the difference in the eyes. There seems to be so much more detail in this newer rendition. And it's not like that Series 1 figure was bad by any means. I really do like the look of that one still. It's just, to me, this new paint app or decal, whatever it is, just gives the character so much more life. Now, as I already mentioned, I do wish they would have fixed the elbow pads with these glow-in-the-dark figures, but another thing that could have really taken these figures to that next level was a few character-specific accessories, because Egon, he does not come with his trusty PKE meter. I mean, the original Series 1 Plasma Series figure of Egon, he came with a PKE meter, and being that the sculpts are the same, this glow-in-the-dark version of Egon, his belt even has a hole for the meter to go into. So if you do have an extra one, you can easily attach it to his waist belt, or, you know, put it in his hand like he's hunting down Slimer at the Sedgwick Hotel. Okay, so moving on here, we've now got the heart of the Ghostbusters, Dr. Ray Stantz. And much like Venkman, I gotta say, when it comes to Ray here, he really benefited from that new paint app, those new decals on his face. This looks so much better than the rendition of Ray of Dan Aykroyd that we received a year or two ago. Now, detail-wise, there's not really too much to go over. He's pretty uniform to what we've already seen. I once again do want to point out the Ghostbusters logo being covered in slime because I really do love that effect. As well, there's some slime on the top of Ray's left glove, which I think looks fantastic. As well, going a bit further down here, you can see we have that slime detail on Ray's left pant leg, which is also oozing down onto his boot. And then turning him around here, you're going to see that Ray, he's kind of the lucky one, as his proton pack got the least amount of ectoplasm on it. Now, I think right now it is comparison time. Once again, left-hand side, we have the Series 1 Ray, right, glow-in-the-dark Ray. And there is no denying that the new version looks so much better. Once again, Hasbro really upped their game when it comes to all the new detail work in the faces. Now, another area where this Ray actually could look a little better is he is missing his go-to accessory, the Ecto Goggles. And once again, those Ecto Goggles, they came with that Series 1 Ray stance. And this new Ray, you can see his belt even has the clip for the goggles. So if you've got them, you can attach them. And being that his head is that exact same sculpt there, if you already have a pair of Ecto Goggles, feel free to strap them on Dr. Stantz's head, send him over to the Sedgwick Hotel, and let him investigate all of these Slimer occurrences. Now, coming up last, we've got the Everyman. We have got Winston Zedmore. And my first impressions with this one is this does look so much like Ernie Hudson. We got that slime splatter detail on the top of the face going down the right-hand side cheek. And once again, by now, there's not really too much to go over, being that the figures are so uniformed. I will touch on the fact that Winston is actually the only Ghostbuster that does not have his logo obstructed on his arm. As well, unique to him, he does have a bit of green slime on his right glove. And as I mentioned a bit earlier there, like Stantz and Spangler, he does have that really cool dripping slime effect going down his right leg onto his boot. And then turning him around to the back here, here's a quick shot of his proton pack once again with that dripping slime effect. Alright, now it is comparison time, and I gotta say, that original Series 1 Winston, when I posted the video, there was so many people in the comment section that said he looked like Eddie Murphy. And ever since that video, that's all I can see with that figure. That is why I'm so happy. Once again, that new paint, that new decal work, this new Winston, to me, it screams Ernie Hudson. There's no denying who this is. Seriously, this figure looks so good. To me, he may be my favorite figure in this entire brand new line, once again, from Hasbro. I love it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, each one of the Ghostbusters, they do come with their very own glow-in-the-dark proton stream. And to attach the proton stream, it is really easy. You just gotta kind of mash it into the end of the Neutrino wand, and there you go. You got the proton stream effect. And having all 4 Ghostbusters with their Neutrino wands extended, proton streams in the air, it is a sight to be seen. I mean, just look how cool this looks. And as I've said so many times in this video, these are glow-in-the-dark figures. So let's go ahead, hit the lights, and see these guys in all of their glory. Oh, and that green slime effect on the actual figures, it is so vibrant, it is so bright. As well, we also have the proton streams, and while they're not as vibrant as the paint that we see on the actual action figures, they do glow pretty bright, and they're pretty easy to see here in this dark room. So that does it for this look at these brand new glow-in-the-dark Ghostbusters Plasma Series figures from Hasbro. As I mentioned at the top of the video, if you'd like to grab a set for yourself, you can buy them right now. They are in stock over on entertainmentearth.com, and we've got that link down below in this video's description. That's all I've got for you here right now. As always, be sure to subscribe to Ghostbusters News here on YouTube. Bust that bell notification icon to stay up to date with everything that's happening within the Ghostbusters world. If you'd like to join up with Ghostbusters News, check out our Patreon page. We have a link to that down below in this video's description. And I'll see everybody right back here next time.